So let's move on to module 3, which is using the magic wand. And so my question there, if you have a module called using the magic wand, it kind of presupposes that we're not necessarily using the magic wand in the right way. So how is this different than tuning the magic wand, and what is it that you saw in terms of a greater opportunity to use the magic wand in the right way?
Well, I don't think most people use their magic wands at all. So getting it out of the box, which is module 1, is one thing, and tuning it is another. But having the confidence then to actually go out and create something magical, it takes a little more. That you're not going to do it just by looking at the magic wand. So you need to use it. So module 3 is about the practical application of all of the science that we will have got to at this point. And I'm going to throw this out there now, and I hope I don't put people off, but by the time you remember, we're talking about module 3 now, so by the time you get to module 3, what I'm about to say, people will fully understand scientifically why this is the case. But we will touch on string theory very briefly in module 1, come back to it in module 3. And one of the fascinating things about string theory, and I'm not even going to go into what string theory is now, one of the fascinating things about it is it's scientifically proven that the field that is studied in string theory can only exist in 10 dimensions. 9 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. Okay, so just think about how profound that is. We live in a world that we believe is possibly 4 dimensions. We have the dimensions of height and width and depth, and that's how we see everything around us. We also have a sense of a dimension called time, which we'll find out in module 3 is a bit of an illusion, and we're going to talk about the illusion of time. Beyond that, there are 6 dimensions that are physically measurable, identifiable in quantum physics. That is never talked about, that is never shared, that we're not taught in school, and it's a little bit mind-blowing. And all of these dimensions are around us. And once we understand that and we start to use our magic wands, then we start to access more than the world we think we know. And again, that gives you a lot of fun, but also gives you a great level of understanding beyond the world that we think we live within. And once you get that, it's like anything else. Once you learn to do something well, then the way you used to live seems very sort of slow and antiquated, and your whole ability to react to the world around you changes at levels that you won't yet understand. Now, I hope I haven't put anybody off, but remember, this is module 3, so by the time we get to module 3, everyone's already going to know this and anticipate it because it's so exciting. This is going to open up whole new experiences that we never even thought or didn't dare to believe existed.
So I have 2 questions for you on that. So
I thought you might.
For now. So there may be viewers thinking, okay, so you're all excited about what you're going to teach, Trevor, because you have a physics degree and you're all excited about physics. I don't have a physics degree. In fact, I hated physics in high school. Is this going to be a theoretical thing where I'm going to have to break out my high school physics books and get all into what's physics about? So speak to that, because you said string theory, which immediately might have people going, oh, Lord, this is going to be theory. I don't want to learn anything about theory. So break that down for us a little bit, because I know you're not going into theory as we know it in high school physics and college physics or whatever. Speak to that a little bit. If anyone's watching right now going, string theory, that doesn't even sound like anything I want to learn. Speak to that, if you will, for somebody who may be a little bit concerned about that, and also somebody who's thinking, well, he's a physics guy, he has a physics degree, so he thinks this is exciting. It might not be that exciting for me. How would you respond to somebody who may be having those thoughts right now?
Well, it's just a title. When physicists, God bless them, they're a funny group, but when they discover something, they can't resist putting a label on it, and they sit around the table and decide, well, what should we call it? And I can't even remember the story as to how they came up with this phrase called string theory, which means nothing to anybody and doesn't tell you a single thing about it. And it's just a label. So I mean, it's no different to me talking about soccer or beer or wine or anything like that. They're all just labels too. But I can sit here and I can describe my favorite wine. And I can sit here and I can describe one of my favorite aspects of quantum physics, which is string theory, without you even having to go near a textbook. And you'll get it, and you'll see it, because I'm going to demonstrate it. We're going to look at a little video, and we're going to look at some examples of how it exists and what it means. And it means some amazing things. And what's interesting about this is we'll also, although this is supposedly cutting-edge science, I'm going to show you that some people knew this before the scientists even discovered it. And we're going to listen to how they described it. And you'll realize that these people who'd never had any scientific training whatsoever, who had never learned a single law of physics or a single law of energy or anything about string theory, could tell you everything you need to know about string theory before the scientists got hold of it and made it complicated. And that really, I think that's one of the things that frustrates. This is why I'm doing it, because it's why I wrote 3 Simple Steps, is because self-help gurus and all of these people make it seem so complicated and so hard to reach, and that you've got to work hard and you've got to believe, and it puts so much pressure on the person who's receiving the information that it's just overwhelming. And the same thing happens when we talk about science and physics. You know, it just can be overwhelming. So I'm going to take all of that weight off everybody's shoulders, and I'm going to show you how it works. And the key is that, you know, I use this example a lot. You know, if I was to do a course on how television works, you might not attend the course because you have no desire to understand the science of fluorescence. Okay? But my course will be, look, here's the remote control, here's the on switch, here's the volume, here's the channel change button. Now, what else do you need to know? Go use a TV. And that's what we're doing with the physics of success. Here's the information you need to know to go out and change your life. Beyond that, if you're interested, go to the library, get a physics book. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep it to what's practical and what's useful to changing your life.
Okay, and I love that analogy, because that's a perfect analogy for what the course is for people who may be a little bit scared off by the word physics. It's that analogy of the television where, yeah, I could show you how to use the television and teach you all the stuff that's inside the television and all the different things that makes the television, or I could just give you a remote control and show you how to use it and
Right.
turn it on, turn it off, change the channel, and that's all you need. And it sounds like that's the level at which you're teaching the physical or the physics aspect of what is in this course. Let me ask you one question about the using the magic wand. What is it that you're hoping people will be able to do at the end of session 3 that they might not have been able to do before this course?
At the end of module 3, every participant will have such a sense of knowing of their potential that they will no longer feel the pressure of having to believe in anything. So and that's part of the issue, is that people feel, well, you know, someone might say, well, you know, as a character, I'm not really that strong a personality. I can't believe, I can't jump up and down on my right foot for 2 hours if that's what you want me to do. And there's no need for any of that. So it doesn't matter what character you are, what personality you are, what your background is, where you've come from up to this point. At the end of module 3, it's like being reborn. You have the same potential as when you were born. Everyone has the same potential when they're born. And so you have this ability to go out and change your life. After that, it's pretty much up to you. I mean, you could change it a little bit, or you change it a lot. And who's to say who's right and who's wrong about that? You don't have to go out and become a billionaire if you don't want to. You can just, you know, have happier relationships, or take up a hobby you've always been wanting to do but put off but never had the confidence to try. So, you know, it's those things. Some of my favorite stories are people who gave up on their dreams of singing and painting, and with this magic have been able to go back to that and experience what they thought their life would have been like if they'd been given the magic wand when they were 15 instead of when they were 45. But for me, it's never too late to change. There's never a bad time to start over, and this course will give you the scientific understanding of how easy it is to start over, and that you don't have to try and you don't have to believe, because it truly doesn't matter whether you believe in the laws of energy. They exist. You can't fight it. And most people spend their whole lives fighting against the laws of physics. They do dumb things like goal setting and think, you know, they just fight. They swim against the tide the whole time. And so what this will do will give you an understanding. It'll be like jumping into a river and flowing with the current. That's how easy it becomes. And everyone will suddenly realize, my goodness, I've been doing it the wrong way around. I've been trying to swim up the falls, and I didn't realize. So I tend to ramble because I get so excited, but that's what I do.
What's exciting about this is that I speak to so many people who have done a lot of self-help stuff, yet they still they're beating themselves up around, well, how come I haven't experienced this yet? How come I haven't done this yet? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I need to believe harder. Maybe I need to try harder. Maybe I need to implement more. Maybe I need to implement differently. And it sounds like this would be a great opportunity for people to see. Well, you describe that as swimming against the tide and swimming against the natural flow of how things happen. And perhaps it's that the folks who are really struggling, even with implementing three simple steps and not seeing any results, or feeling like, oh gosh, I gotta go work on something else before I do three simple steps, or maybe I have to do this, that, the other thing, and always looking for what else do I need to fix and do and change in order to experience the results that I want in my life. It sounds like the physics of success is, hey, come over here, let me just show you how to flow with how it happens quite naturally and quite easily, so you don't have to struggle as much with all this stuff you've been trying to grapple with all this time. So what you're doing is saying, okay, here's pointing us to, here's the natural flow of things, and if you behave in the natural flow of things, then you begin to experience what you want quite naturally and with little or no struggle. It should be with no struggle if they're going in the with the natural flow of science. And the scientific piece is I think the piece that's freeing, because a lot of times people think, oh, I have to believe harder. I have to, I have to understand it better in order for it to work for me. But what you're saying is all that really isn't necessary. There's a scientific method, and if you flow with the scientific method, then you'll begin to experience a lot of what you want without having to feel like you're failing at it so much. Because I think there's so many people out there who feel like I'm trying, but I'm failing. I'm trying. Have you seen that, where people are like, I'm trying it, but I'm failing? And how is this course going to help me if I feel like I've tried everything already and I feel like I'm still not doing it right, per se?
Well, I write back on emails many times. You are trying too hard. Stop trying, because that is swimming against the tide with everything. Whether it's something as simple as dieting or something as complicated as trying to get a better job. I mean, people just try so hard to change, and you don't have to try at all. Perhaps the best analogy I can think of right now, as we're talking, is going back to that TV analogy. I mean, if you've never seen TV before, and there's a remote control on the table and a TV on the wall, which there is actually remote control here, TV on the wall over there. But no one showed you how to switch the TV on. It doesn't matter how much you try to believe that you'll be able to see a picture on that TV. You're never going to see a picture. And you're going to get so frustrated and so tired by trying to believe in the picture on the TV because you've seen someone else has a picture on their TV. Well, why don't I have one on mine? And it's only because no one's shown you how to use the remote control. So if I can come in and say, well, don't be crazy, switch it on. And you go, oh my goodness, you mean I have to switch it on? Why didn't someone tell me? Well, it's the same with the physics of success. It's the same with science. My goodness, why hasn't anybody told me this before? And it's as eye-opening and mind-blowing as simply doing that. And that little bit of knowledge, you switch on the TV, and now you've got a whole new world of experiences, and you didn't have to do anything. And all of that effort trying to believe that the TV would somehow magically work has gone away because you've been given a tool that works. You've got understanding. And that's what this will do, because once you understand these basic laws, and they're very, very simple, and we're not going to use complicated phrases, and there's nothing to remember, there's no homework. It's once you do that, then suddenly you realize, well, why have we not been told? Why have I had to wait X number of years to learn this? And so there's that aspect to it too. And then but immediately you think, but my goodness, I'm starting right now. And I'm going to use this TV right now, so that's really the best way I can put it. Is unless someone shows you, how would you know? And so all of that pressure that you've put yourself under with these self-help gurus and positive thinkers. I mean, let's just eradicate that one right now. Positive thinking is an absolute scientific impossibility, because thoughts occur at the speed of light. How can you step in front of them? You can't. You can't help your thoughts. It's okay to have negative thoughts. It's okay to get emotional. It's okay to have all of these things. Question is, what do you do next? And that's what the physics of science gives you. How do we react to this situation? How do we react to the world around us that isn't the world we hoped it would be? How do we change it?
Yeah.
It's no one's fault that their world has turned out the way it has, and they're not happy with it. It's nothing anyone's done. There's no fault. It's not because of a lack of belief or a lack of faith. It's not because of idiotic behavior, any of those things. It's because of lack of understanding. No one taught you the principles by which you can change that. That's all it is.
So it sounds like, which is a really cool concept, is like this course is really the remote control for quantum physics. It's like I don't have to understand all this stuff in there. So just hand me the remote control to do what I need to do. And so this entire course seems like you handing us the remote control that puts quantum physics into play, but just by pressing a button.
Yeah, I actually like that. I wish I'd thought
to that extent.
I wish I'd thought of that. So the remote control of quantum physics, that's a good phrase. I like it.
Yeah, it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing, given the analogy that you shared.